Oh boy, oh boy. A lot has been going on for the last week or so. Well, we find out Anthem is being shut down next year in January. That kills me inside. Because if you know me, been around the channel or anything, I always mention Anthem. I love Anthem. I think Anthem is a highly underrated looter shooter game that could have rival Destiny, or at least in the PvE category, because y'all know doesn't Anthem doesn't have PvP, and that's one thing that's really keeping Destiny 2 alive. Hate to say it, like you cannot find any PvP around like Destiny 2. Just can't. You know, Halo is kind of close because they're kind of similar, but no, Destiny has the space magic and everything. Hate it or love it, Destiny 2 PvP is one of a kind, baby. And Anthem doesn't have that. What it does have is a cool open world. We can fly around like Iron Man, you know? That game is one of a kind. Hopefully another developer can see what they did with Anthem and take that and, really bring out the magic. Just really bring out what Anthem could have really been at the end of the day. So we're going to look at the Pual Tessi article, came out like last week. Look over that, see what they have to say, see what he has to say. And I want to talk about Stop Killing Games too, because Stop Killing Games, yes, we got like over 1.2 million signatures. Now they did go in and kind of get rid of the outliers, the bad signatures and everything. But hey, more doesn't hurt. So if you haven't signed up, if you're watching in the EU or UK, sign up for it. Every signature counts. But I want to talk about like more like what's, I'm a consumer just like you, just like everyone else. I buy these games and I hate seeing them going away like out of nowhere for no reason. That's ridiculous. After we spend 50, 60, 80, $100 on these games and they can just get rid of them. Like there has to be a solution, and we've seen with the crew there is a solution. The code's in there to make it a single player game, but they just don't want to, and we all know why. Money. Okay, it's all because of money. You can't make any more money off the game, so I keep it around. That's ridiculous to me, because with Anthem, right? So they had Bioware make this game, which they said they didn't mind making the game. They didn't force them to make this game. But the bad part is like, the thing is, Bioware didn't like how the game turned out, right? They wanted to work on the game more. There's this whole thing about getting Anthem next. They're going to work on the loot system, on everything Anthem. They're going to work on it. Guess who came in and said no? EA. EA said, nope, you're not doing it. It failed in our books. You can't make a comeback. It's done. We're going to put you on some other projects, which is crazy. If you know anything about the development of Anthem, well, that whole E3 trailer, they really didn't have much done when they showed that. They got this game done like how much? Like it's some crazy number, like 6-8 months, something like that. And they got this game out. And what they did get out, I'm very impressed. You may not be impressed. I'm very impressed with what they got out. And one other thing, when they're developing the game, they couldn't mention the D word, Destiny 2, which is wild. And you can see that, when EA decided to just can the game, because it's like, we all know I'm a Destiny 2 player. I've been playing since Destiny 1 beta, and no, Destiny 1 was not good. I mean, it was okay. It was something new, but overall, the game was not good. The story kind of sucked. The loot wasn't that great. But you know what saved it? Bungie sticking it out at the end. They just sticked it out, and we got the Taken King, and that made Destiny so much better. Destiny 2 rolls around, and it was kind of horrible too. Yeah, with the double primary, you can only have a shotgun in your third slot. It was like basically your snipers, grenade launcher. Did we have grenade launchers, shotguns, and all that? Mostly like your one-shot weapons. They were like heavy weapons. You didn't get them all the time like you do now. And it was, the PvP was 4v4 because they kind of have more balance and more of a competitive scene. Nobody liked it. The story was slightly better than vanilla Destiny, slightly better, but it wasn't the greatest. The loot was terrible. We had static rolls, no random rolls or anything. It was bad at the end of the day compared to the end of Destiny 1. Guess what? Guess what Bungie did? Can we all guess? They stuck it out and said, we're going to fix it. And guess what? We got Forsaken. Oh my gosh, that was a wonderful year of Destiny 2. Black Armory, Menagerie, a lot more other stuff. That was great. And Destiny, yeah, it thrived. Then we got, you know, the other DLCs with the raids, Last Wish, all that, and you know, a lot more. I guess they didn't see that, how the game, and hold on, I would say Anthem was quite better than vanilla Destiny and vanilla 2 Destiny. Yeah, I said it. With the story, the gameplay, and everything, it was better. When Anthem first launched, it was a better game than the beginning of Destiny and Destiny 2. Besides the loot, and you know, they could have worked on the end game, but you know, the story's better. Like I said, the gameplay, all they needed to work on is kind of the weapons and end game. That's the only two big things. Man, they could have had a good, they had it. They could have took a big population of Destiny. EA just wanted to give up on it. But let's go and look at the article. Right here, we have this article from Pual Tessi. Hate him or love him. I mean, but he does put out the news and stuff. EA is completely shutting down Anthem. And no, you cannot get a refund. That's a big thing. I think we'll talk about the stop killing games thing later. But I want to talk about this. Can't get a refund. Can't get a refund. Let's really talk about this. So right here, it has just been announced that Anthem servers will be shut down entirely on January 12th, 2026. 6 months from now. The game has still been able to be played all this time, even since its death on February 2021. But now, nothing. You won't be able to play at all. Oh my gosh, you won't be able to play at all. That's a big deal. Okay, man, you've probably been seeing gameplay of it, because yes, I bought this game twice. One on PlayStation, the first time on PlayStation when it was full price. I played this game when it first came out, and I quite enjoyed it, you know. And I bought it again on the EA app on PC. Now that was a little bit cheaper. It was only like what, $2 to $5, something like that. But still, like, all the people who paid full price for this game, this really sucks. And this is what I'm talking, like, they need to quit doing this. Like, so let's actually go over to the stop killing games. So stop killing games, right? Like I said, we have over 1.2 million signatures, and it's going, baby, it's going. But I feel like there's a bigger issue that, you know, we need to talk about this. I'm all about the movement, you know. Give us the right to the games we buy, the $60, $80, $100 games we buy. But the video games Europe has responded to this, so I'm probably going to leave a link to this, right, so you can read it. But we're gonna check out one of my favorite people who's been covering this. So Indymon, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. I'm gonna leave a link to this channel and everything to the video, but I just wanted to, I'm dyslexic, so I'm not gonna keep you here too long complaining about that. But he talks about this and he goes over what they say, which is, yeah, you're gonna hear what they have to say.
All that is not an understatement. Recently, Video Games Europe, which is a company that is directly tied to the laws and distributions of video games across Europe, obviously, has responded officially to stop killing games, and here's what they said. We appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience is no longer commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does happen, the industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Private servers are not always a viable alternative option for players, as the protections we put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist and would leave rights holders liable. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. We welcome the opportunity to discuss our position with policymakers and those who have led the European Citizens Initiative in the coming months. So, there's a lot.
So, yeah, he read it, and a lot of that, gaming industry has the same problem as the movie industry. They are spending way too much money for these games, just like the movies, spending hundreds of millions of dollars to make these things, and they expect close, like for games, like millions, like tens of millions of players for these games, and to make billions of dollars like in the first year or two with these games. That's unfeasible. That's outrageous right there. I'm pretty sure later, like, he talks about EA and the new Battlefield. They want like 30 million players, 30, 40 million, some outrageous number. That is wild. No, what was it? It was higher than that. It was some crazy watch, I'll show you. It was some crazy number they're talking about. You know what? I'll show you right now.
Like, did you know? This is crazy. Let me show you guys something. As seen here from TechSpot, Electronic Arts has set a goal for the next Battlefield game to hit 100 million players. And it also has a budget of roughly $400 million in total as well. Why are they spending more money making a
$400 million to make the new Battlefield, and they want 100 million players? Do you understand how crazy that is? Like, I think combined with all the Battlefields, the most was like 30, 40, 50 million players. I think it was like 30 million. Let me get my number right. 30 million players. That is outrageous. 100 million? I don't think Fortnite gets that number. That is a lot of people that you need to play this game. Guess what? Everybody doesn't like Battlefield. You got your COD players, which are millions of people. You got your Fortnite players, there are millions of people. You got people who just like battle royales, and they like a certain type of battle royales. Some people don't even like shooters. 100 million players is outrageous, and that price to make this game is outrageous. That's more than Avengers Endgame. He was about to say it, but that's way more than. This is outrageous. Okay, this is ridiculous. I said something about how the game industry and the movie industry spending so much money, right? The games are getting worse. I understand, like, people have to get paid and everything like that, but this price, have better management and budgeting, for these games. These games should not be costing this much. Look at Player Obscure Expedition 33, like 30 people worked on that game. Pretty sure it didn't cost $400 million to make that game. Pretty sure off the bat, before the game even releases, they weren't saying, oh yeah, we have to have 50 million people buy this game. No, they left their old studios because they didn't like how things were working around there. Left it. They created their own studio and created something that they were passionate about. And yeah, that's probably game of the year. I hate to say it, if you haven't played that game or you just don't like turn-based, like that's game of the year. The story alone, how they innovated the turn-based combat, that's game of the year. But this is ridiculous. But I want to go back to this and talk about this because I think there's a lot of factors that we're just not thinking about. Yes, it'd be nice to own our games. I want that, but we have to learn and we have to recognize we have a lot of bad eggs in the gaming community. Talking about cheaters, talking about, people who just want to say and do some crazy stuff. That is, not everybody's like that. Like, I've met plenty of kind, decent people, but there are some bad eggs out there. And like, I feel like, right, I could be wrong, but once we do open that door where we do own our own games and everything, cheaters, when it comes to cheaters, developer and the publisher, they like to shut them down. Yes, we've been seeing like last year or so, these companies have been taking people to court and stuff and winning. Once it comes to that cheater or that person owns their game, what right does the developer or publisher have to come in to shut them down? To what's the word I'm looking for? To ban that player off of their own game because now they bought it, they own the right to that game. What's the, like? Could somebody go in and be like and take these developers, publishers to court and be like, they did this, they don't have the right to do this to me because this is my game, I paid good money for this game. And what if something like that does happen, and what if like the publisher or the developer loses, right, and they have to pay that person or people, that money. I feel like we probably, hopefully this, I hope this does pass and we do get something accomplished with this. But I want to say like, we need to work on a lot more things in gaming. This is a big problem. I do agree. We do need to own our games, all the money we spend on these games, and this not on the box price. I'm talking about like microtransactions and all that too. People spend hundreds to thousands to hundreds of $1,000s on these games, and they put a lot of time in these games. But I'm just thinking about like, some of the bad eggs in the bunch who could probably ruin this for all of us. And I'm not talking about, I mentioned cheaters, but there's other stuff people do in games. And they talked about like how like they don't want private servers up because people can do explicit things in there, and the publisher will have to take the fault for that. So I do see their concerns. I'm not trying to shield for publishers or anything. Maybe a little for devs. I will say that because at the end of the day, they're stuck between both of us, the publisher and the players. A lot of them want their games to live on and us to keep playing them because they worked hard on these games, years, hours. We all heard of crunch. That sucks. You're crunching for months, years, and then the publisher can just come in and they'll be like, yeah, game didn't do well, we're gonna shut the game down and disband all y'all. You're gonna go to different places or you're just fired. We just seen Xbox fire like what, 8,000 people. That's wild. Yeah, I just wanted to say something. I'm going to keep talking about this because I do think we need to own our own games today, but it's going to be a whole nother can of worms if we do get it, which I don't think the people at over there in the EU and stuff, they really don't want it. I don't think the whole gaming, publishers and stuff want this at all. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good night and takes it easy. And I'll see you in the next video. Leave a like, subscribe, bring that bell for more videos, and share this if you want. Please share it, get more exposure, more views, more money, and I can hire people to actually edit my videos so they won't be so terrible. Okay, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. Peace.